standing here with Jon Letheiser, and he is from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. He's out here doing a very unique thing with this tripod and this pot setup right here. Jon, what are you doing?
I'm cooking potatoes and pine sap.
Pine sap potatoes. Why would you cook potatoes and pine sap? Why do you do that?
Well, they did that years ago, I think with the naval store industry, even though there's no written history of it. But I think they used it as a preservative. There wasn't any refrigeration back then. They had to preserve some stuff somehow.
That's interesting. Well, if you look down at these potatoes in the pot there, they've been boiling a while.
Yep.
So they're boiling, and what is this thing in here?
This is actually the sap.
Oh, it is?
It looks a lot like amber, but it's very brittle.
Okay.
And it came from the naval stores industry, and I figure they only cooked it maybe one time to get the turpentine out of it.
That's interesting. It looks kind of clear on the inside there.
Yeah, it's very pretty.
That's neat.
But after you cook it a couple of times, it gets real black. It looks like tar.
Now, where do you find these big blocks of pine sap like this? Where do you find that?
I have been finding them in the rivers in this area. Waccamaw River, Black River. All the rivers were thoroughfares. There wasn't really many roads back then. So these boats come up the thoroughfares of the rivers, and the people would either use a distillery like to get the sap and make the naval storage stuff.
Right.
And it was mostly turpentine.
Okay.
That was like the high product, and this was kind of what was left over.
Interesting.
Even though they used this a lot for a lot of products, but after a while I think they just dumped it because I find a lot of it in chunks.
In chunks in the river, in the bottom of the river. So you're a scuba diver, I take it. You go out and dive with tanks and find it, in the Blackwater rivers.
But you can find a lot of it on the land.
What you were telling the young lady a while ago was they would fall these trees down, they fell them, and then they would heat it up, and then the sap would come out of either end of the tree, and it would create this little basin in the woods where the pine sap was. So people go along and they would find the pine sap inside the ground, if they worked on that. That's really interesting. So I'll tell you what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick look at how you're getting these potatoes out in just a second and see what you're doing here. You're just stirring that sap around there.
These are sweet potatoes or white potatoes, any kind of root vegetable I think you can cook in here.
Okay. And how long does a potato preserve when you cook it this way?
Well, I've had them lay on the ground for up to 2 weeks and still be edible.
2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Okay. Wow, that's awesome.
But I think what they did years ago, they rolled it in probably pine straw or leaves, and you could pack it away because this coating on here will get extremely hard after I take these out. The potato cools off.
Isn't that interesting? That's cool.
It doesn't look very good, but it really cooks the potato right. It's very tasty.
That's really fascinating. So this is just almost a lost art. Do you know anybody else around here that cooks like this? Have you ever seen anybody that does this?
Never heard of anybody.
So you're the only one. The Pine Sap Swamp Potato Man. This is Jon Letheiser. What an interesting thing about history we learned today. Well, every first Saturday in November we do a special event at Playcard Environmental Education Center called SwampFest. And do you think you might be out this year cooking these swamp potatoes?
Yeah, I'm going to definitely try to make it.
Come out here and cooking potatoes. Well, we appreciate that. Everybody enjoy watching Forever Wild, a little mini episode on YouTube. Have a good day.